الحمد لله صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. As usual, we'll start inshallah our Friday halaqah about the lessons that we can learn from Surat Yusuf alayhi salam. It was not a regular tafsir, rather it is a tafsir that we derive lessons from based on what Allah says. كتاب أنزلناه إليك مبارك. This Quran is blessed, we have revealed upon you so that you can reflect on the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The last passage was about the scene of Yusuf alayhi salam and his two companions in prison. Anybody remembers what you can learn from? What did you learn from last passage as a lesson? Yusuf alayhi salam, when he was in prison with his two companions who saw the dream and he interpreted for them. What do you learn? What was the lesson that you got from there? When he said Yes. Yes, one of the great lessons we learn from that passage, he said that when he said to the king, remember me in the king, the man who was in prison, the one who knew that he will be freed, he said, "Uzkurni inda rabbik," mention me in the presence of the king that I know the interpretation of the dream. Then Allah says, فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. Because of him relying on the king more, as Ibn Abbas says, he have stayed more years in the prison. Okay, that's a good point. Anybody want to add one more thing? That Yusuf alayhi salam had the power to interpret the dreams. Good, right. Yes, that passage is what we're going to start today from. That's good, that's good. Khalas. So one of the main lessons that we learn is that if you find an opportunity to give a da'wah, take advantage of that. Yusuf alayhi salam, he was asked to interpret a dream, but taking advantage of that opportunity that was given to him, he started giving him a da'wah. He told him about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They didn't ask about Allah, did they? What they wanted, these two men. The interpretation of their dream had nothing to do with Allah and da'wah. But he took that as an advantage opportunity to give da'wah to them and tell them about the oneness and the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So inshallah we're going to start this passage. This passage is about the dream of the king and the interpretation of that dream, inshallah. We're going to finish that, then we're going to move to the passage of freedom and innocence of Yusuf alayhi salam. So as usual, we will read the ayat, quickly translate, then move to the most important part of our series, which is to discuss the lessons that we could learn from. Allah says, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ إِنِّي أَرَى سَبْعَ بَقَرَاتٍ سِمَانٍ. The king said, indeed I have seen a dream. أَرَى. This shows that he was constantly seeing over and over. The other dream, the beginning of the dream, he said, إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشَرَ. رَأَيْتُ is فعل ماضي. That I have seen in the past, I have seen it, that and that, the dream of Yusuf alayhi salam. But this one he said, إِنِّي أَرَى. I constantly say, I see. سَبْعَ بَقَرَاتٍ سِمَانٍ. I have seen in my dream 7 fat cows. يَأْكُلُهُنَّ سَبْعٌ عِجَافٌ. I have seen them being eaten by 7 other ones who are weak and skinny, lean ones. The big fat one was eating the smaller ones. وَسَبْعَ سُنْبُلَاتٍ خُضْرٍ. And he said that I see a سَبْعَ سُنْبُلَاتٍ, 7 green spikes of grains. And another ones, وَأُخْرَى. And I see others that they were dry. Yabisat, they were dry. So he saw one side 7 cows who are fat eating another 7 cows who are weak and lean. And another side he saw the 7 sumbulat, 7 green spikes of grain, and he saw also another ones who were dry. Then he said to his people, Ya ayyuhal mala'u aftuni fi ru'yay. He said, "O my people, give me the interpretation of my dream. In kuntum lirru'ya ta'burun." He said, if you can interpret dreams, I want to know what this dream means. As we mentioned, the knowledge of a dream is a knowledge that Allah gives to special people, and this is a fatwa. This is not a regular, it's not something that you guess. You should have a knowledge and vision of what he's talking about. Otherwise, you could mislead a lot of people. Lately, it became a business. Even you see online, some websites, they say they interpret dreams, and they will tell you whatever they want. Some people, they will just interpret to you whatever you want to hear it. In a sunnah, if you see a good dream, it's good to tell your friends and seek the interpretation of it. If you see a bad dream, it's sunnah that you do not speak about it, you do not tell others, and you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim, and move on for your life, because it will not hurt you. The hadith says that if your dream is interpreted by somebody, then with the permission of Allah, that interpretation would occur, would happen. So that's why it's good not to seek the interpretation of the bad dreams. It's not a good idea. Then he says, if you're not interpreted, then inshallah, the hadith says that it will not hurt you. قالوا أضغاث أحلام. His mala, his eminent, his people, they said, أضغاث أحلام. This is a mixture of false dreams. We said that dreams are types. One of them is a dream that is true, that would happen, and one of them is أضغاث أحلام, the dreams that are false. Usually you would see what you, for example, if you watch a movie that is horror at night, then most likely you will see maybe a dream of scary dream. That's called أضغاث أحلام. It's a false dream. It's just interpretation of what you were doing and what you were thinking before you went to bed. The other one is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's called a true dream. That would happen the way Allah had shown you a dream. And another dream is a dream from shaitan. That are scary dreams, some things that not good, evil dreams are from shaitan and not good idea to interpret it. They said, وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ الْأَحْلَامِ بِعَالِمِينَ. They said, we are not learned, we don't know the interpretation of al-ahlam, of the dreams, not visions, we know it, but the dreams that are false, we don't know the interpretation of those. Al-ahlam is a false dream. Then وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَا. You remember the scene before this, that the 2 men who saw the dream, and what was their dreams? And one of you guys will tell me. Oh. He was walking, and there was a basket. One of them was walking, and he saw that he had a basket of bread in his head, and the birds were eating from him. And the other one, yeah, the first one he saw what? He saw that he was making a wine. So which one was saved and which one was killed? The one that saw that the birds were eating from his head, the bread on his head, that one was killed, as the interpretation said. The other one who saw that he was making a wine, the interpretation of that was that he will be freed and he will work for the king. So he told that man that, remember me, mention about me to the king, that I'm free, that I'm innocent, I did not do all of these, and also I know this knowledge of interpreting the dream. He did not, he forgot. Shaitan make him forget. But now after the king saw the dream, he remembered. He's supposed to tell him right away when he went outside of the jail. He said, وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَا. The man, the one who was freed among the 2, said, وَالذَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ. And remembered after a time. He remembered, oh my God, I know somebody who can interpret this dream for the king. He said, أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِتَأْوِيلِهِ. He said, I can inform you about the interpretation of the dream. I know somebody who could. فَأَرْسِلُونَ. He said, send me forth, send me to the prison so that I can get the interpretation. He came to Yusuf alayhi salam. He said, Yusuf ayyuha as-siddiq. He said, oh Yusuf, oh a man of the truth. You always say the truth. Siddiq is ala wazni fa'il. The man, you're a man of really truth. He says, أفتنا في سبع بقرات. Explain to us about 7 fat cows. يأكلهن سبع عجاف. That is eating, that's being eaten by 7 leans, 7 weak ones. وسبع سنبلات. And tell us about the 7 grain spikes of grain and the other ones who are dry. He said, يا لعلي أرجع إلى الناس. He said that I may return back to the people, to the king and his people. لعلي أرجع إلى الناس لعلهم يعلمون. Perhaps they will know the interpretation of this dream. Send me back, tell me about it. And Yusuf alayhi salam right away told him the interpretation of dream. It was not personal to him. He didn't hide the knowledge. He didn't even blame the man. As we're going to talk, the man who came to him, he didn't say that, hey, you're supposed to tell the king earlier, now you need me, you come back to me. That's not the attitude of a believer. He says, تزرعون سبع سنين دأبا. He said, you will plant for 7 years consequently. فما حصدتم. He told him the 7 big fat cows, or the 7 green grains that you saw, those are years of goodness and years of luxury and all of that. The 7 dreams the 7 weak cows that you have seen, it means about there will be 7 years of difficulty that you will face. So this is what he told. And he also informed them a way to resolve that problem, that calamity, that difficulty that is about to come. There's a way to go around it. Not only he interpreted the dream, rather he went extra and told him how to fix the problem and difficulty that is about to face them. He said, تزرعون سبع سنين دأبا فما حصدتم. He said, whatever on these years that is about to come, and this year's whatever you keep it, فذروه في سنبله. He said, leave it in its spike, do not take it out of a spike. إلا قليلا مما تأكلون, except the little that you eat. The rest keep it and save it. We're going to see inshallah the lesson that you could learn. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك. He said, after that there will be years, سبع شداد, another 7 years which are years of difficulty. He said, it's about to come. He said, يأكلن ما قدمتم لهن, which you will consume and eat what you saved in the years of luxury and consequently the years of goodness. You save those and you will eat those on the 7 years of difficulties. He said, إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَحْصِيُونَ, except a little from which you will store so that you can make a plantation after the 7 years of difficulties. If you all eat, then you cannot plant. You don't have the grains to plant again. Then he said, ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ عَامٌ. Then there will be a year after that. فِيهِ يُغَاثُ النَّاسِ. Allah would give rain to the people. وَفِيهِ يَعْصِرُونَ. And a day, in a year where the people would press the olives and grapes that they will have luxury and eat and drink from the juice, from the things that Allah had given them. So this is how he interpreted those dreams. I'm going to move into the inshallah lessons. Everybody understands the interpretation of the dreams? Okay, now the lessons that you could learn. Number 1, sometimes you could be in a difficult moment. The doors are closed. You see yourself that there's no way to get out of this. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings the faraj, brings the solution to you, elevates the problems and troubles from you. Bishart, you have to have a taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So do not give up. Do not say, I'm in a miserable situation that I'm not going to get out. When the situation gets harder, always the solution gets closer. And فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Allah says, always with the difficulties, ease comes. Yusuf alayhi salam was sitting in a jail. He was forgotten in that prison. Even the man forgot about him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of his nobility and his taqwa, Allah had elevated for him through the dream of this man, of the king that he was. So that's lesson number 1. Whoever fears Allah, Allah would always find a way to make his problems easy for him. When you see the situation gets difficult more, the problems and troubles are more, remember that the solution is getting closer, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would elevate from you. That's lesson number one. Number two, we're going to learn that the evilness and the danger of having ghurur and kibr and arrogance in you. Sometimes you may not know the things, you will not say, I do not know. These people who were interpreting the dreams for the king, when they were asked to interpret this dream, they didn't say they didn't know. Because of them just didn't want, I don't know. They didn't want to say that they didn't know, then they had committed an act of lying and deceiving, and they told this is not a real dream, this is just a false dream, don't worry about it. They already gave their fatwa. So it's dangerous sometimes, and being full of yourself can throw you over. Sometimes maybe you may lead the salah and you know your wudu is broken. If you don't have a sincere and strength, some people, you cannot walk out from the salah. You cannot go and make wudu, and in the middle of the prayer you think that the people will assume things from you. So always it's good that to be honest and truthful. If you know things, say that of what you know. If you do not, say that you do not know. And they say that I do not know, la a'lam is half of the knowledge, or if the knowledge itself. That's lesson number two. Lesson number two is that it's good for the person who's asked question. If you are asked about specific things, if you have some more benefit for the person, give him those benefits. Teach him about the thing that you think he should know. For example, Yusuf alayhi salam, he was asked the interpretation of dream. He interpreted the dream and what? And what? And he gave them the solution. Was he asked about the solution? No, he didn't. He was not asked about the solution. He was asked only about what? About the dream. Same thing. Before, when the two men asked him about the dreams, what did he do? He also gave them a knowledge of Tawheed of Allah, and he told them about the oneness of Allah, and he gave a da'wah to them. So if you have some things to benefit people, benefit them even though you're asked about a certain thing. That's number 3. Say. Another lesson that we could learn is that the communal benefit is more important than the individual benefits. So do not be selfish in general. Yusuf alayhi salam, he had a lot of reasons not to say these dreams. He could even wait at a time. He could say first and foremost, you man who came to me, that I told you to tell me about the king, you did not do it. He could say, these people did wrong me, they put me in prison for years, I'm not going to interpret a dream for them until they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He could put his conditions down, Yusuf alayhi salam. But he didn't, he wasn't selfish. He wasn't worried about himself or his personal issues. So always, Jazakallah khair, I need it actually. So always worry about, don't worry about your personals, always worry about things. Some people, things are personal to them. If they get their benefit, they will work with you. This is a nifaq, this is hypocrisy. Allah says, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَلْمِزُكَ فِي الصَّدَقَاتِ. Among the munafiqeen are people who give you a hard time and ask you constantly about sadaqah. فَإِنْ أُعْطُوا مِنْهَا رَضُوا. If you give them, they're pleased. If you don't give them the sadaqah and the charity, they're not pleased. It's because they're selfish. They only worry about yourself. Some people, they work in certain place. They got fired, and they turn on that place down. They want to say all the negative things. They want to do all the evil things. It's not the right thing. It's not about you always. It's about the benefit of the community, the benefit of the general, the communal benefit is the most important. Another lesson that we could learn is the importance of what? Saving. Economy says that it's good to save. If you are working, always to have some savings. So the saving of the grains was what saved this entire nation of Yusuf alayhi salam. So it's to save your wealth is a good idea. Some people, they have a habit, they work hard, they make a lot of money. Once they lose their job, they're homeless. They will come to the masjid, ask for help. You were just working a couple days, you had a good job, couple months, what did you do? Khalas, I used all my money. Every month, once they get a higher job, they will buy higher clothes, they will buy nice watch, fancy car, nice clothes. They won't worry about tomorrow. They don't save nothing. So this is not right thing to do. It's a smart, a believer to be smart. You trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not that you don't trust Allah. Allah is the one who provides. But when you trust Allah, you don't do tawakkul. Allah Prophet ﷺ said, what? Trust up, tie the camel and trust Allah. You can't let your camel go around and get lost and you say, I trust Allah. No, you have to bring your camel, tie him, and then say, I will trust Allah. He will not go away. So you do your part. The part you're doing is being smart and saving some of your money in the time of difficulties. When you lose your job, they say that at least you have to have 1 year, minimum 1 year of saving, that if in case if you lose your job or something happened to you, you can survive without asking people. So saving is something also noble in Islam. Not only smart idea economy-wise, but also is Islamic idea that we're going to learn from this Yusuf. Where do we learn from the saving? Yeah, saving in the story, that saving is good. Yes, the 7 years of difficulty, good ones, save it for the 7 years of difficulty. So that is the right things of a believer. So that when you lose your job, you don't put your family in trouble outside, go through difficulties. When you have a job, you disappear, you have nice cars, you do things, you don't think about tomorrow. And this is, honestly, is the American culture more. That you see a lot of Americans do this, that once they get a job, if they get a higher job, they will get more loans, they will do things. They don't think about tomorrow, like tomorrow is not going to happen. Another lesson that we could learn from Yusuf alayhi salam is the nobility of Yusuf. The kids, brother, can you ask them to leave? Oh, where are the parents? Kids. Okay, you guys need to step out. There's class going on here. Yes, and that's one of the lessons, but we learned in the previous passage too. But we're going to learn the nobility of Yusuf alayhi salam. He's al-Karim, al-Karim, al-Karim. He didn't blame the guy. He was an honorable person. It wasn't about him. It was about, he had some integrity. He didn't blame the guy, nor he could beg with the king. He says, I know the interpretation of the dream. I need this. He didn't. First he interpreted the dream and he let them go. So this shows that he was a noble man. A noble man always doesn't think about himself. He doesn't say, why I didn't get, why I was doing this. He doesn't take a revenge for himself. Sometimes you work in a community, some things happen to you, so don't make it personal. Always worry for the betterment of the people. Okay, there's hadith da'if, even a weak hadith. The Prophet says that hadith says that Prophet said Yusuf alayhi salam did this. He said, if it was me, I may not do the same. I may not have the patience of Yusuf alayhi salam and let it go. But that hadith is hadith weak, mursal hadith. Okay, another lesson we'll learn is that the danger of surrounding yourself with the bad people, with the not people of ignorance, people of not knowledge. What they do to you, what they will do to you. They will mislead you. They will misinform you. They did that to the king. The king, he has a mala, people around him. When he asked the interpretation, they said, don't worry about it. This is not a big dream. If this dream was not interpreted, guess what would happen to that kingdom? What would happen? Almost gone, almost got destroyed. Because 7 years of difficulty that they don't have things to go through, things to eat, they would die. In Somalia, people die. Sometimes 100,000 people die because they don't have something to eat or drink. They're not aware of what's coming, so it hit them. The jafaf hit them. So that's why it's important that you always surround yourself with the good people, the people of knowledge. The people who doesn't have the knowledge, they could mislead you a lot. Even ignorance could throw you out. A wrong fatwa can take you out. Example of that, Prophet ﷺ sent some of his companions. He sent them to a journey, to a mission. One of the men had injury in his head and his head become open. This man had a wet dream at night. What he has to do, he has to take a shower. He asked his companions, do I have an excuse for me not to take a shower? Because my head is open. If the water gets into it, it will get into the brain, and that would be dangerous. His companions didn't have the knowledge. They told him, no, you have to take a shower because you had a wet dream at night. Then this companion took a shower and died. And when they came back to the Prophet ﷺ, they told him about what happened. He said, قَتَلُوهُ قَاتَلَهُمُ اللَّهِ. They killed him, may Allah killed him. A wrong fatwa costed somebody's life, somebody's else. So sometimes I give a wrong fatwa, it might cost your life. Or sometimes you receive, this was received, sometimes you give a fatwa, it may cost your life. The example of that is what? Sometimes somebody asks you, example in the seerah, somebody who gave a fatwa but died for his fatwa because he gave a wrong fatwa. The man who killed, yes, the man who killed 99 people, he went to what? First one, a monk, worshipper. He gave a fatwa. He said, can I repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, no, astaghfirullah, a'udhu billah. You killed the 99 people? Get out of my way. There's no way Allah would forgive you. The man, what did he do to him? He killed him. فَكَمَّلَهُ بِالْمِئَةِ. The hadith says, he completed him with 100. So his fatwa costed him his life. So it's dangerous that you do not speak about Allah without having a knowledge, You listening to a couple of things will not give you qualifications to give a fatwa, to give a ruling on things. You have to deeply know. This doesn't mean that you can't teach others what you know. You can, but to give a fatwa on a specific thing, on a specific people, is dangerous. It is dangerous and it's haram in Islam. You could cost somebody's life, or it could cost your life. Okay. Another lesson that we learn is that the wisdom of Allah in interpreting the dream. They did not come first to Yusuf alayhi salam. They first went to who? To his people. He asked his people to interpret the dream. Then they said that they didn't know. That showed them their weakness in knowledge. Then he was asked Yusuf alayhi salam. This would show what superiority of Yusuf alayhi salam over them. It was not first with Yusuf alayhi salam. So this is to prove the innocence of Yusuf alayhi salam, the knowledge of Yusuf alayhi salam, and his superiority over them. Same thing, Adam alayhi salam, when Allah asked him the names of the stuffs, first he asked the angels. They said, we do not know. Then Allah asked Adam alayhi salam. What shows that? Adam was superior in knowledge over the angels. Those shows the superiority of a thing. The shafa'ah method, the hadith of shafa'ah, the intercession on the day of judgment. First they will go to Adam, then Noah, then Ibrahim, then Isa. Finally they will come. And all of the prophets, they will say, Nafsi, Nafsi, my soul, my soul. And the Prophet ﷺ is the only one who would intercede. So this shows also superiority of Muhammad ﷺ over the other prophets of Allah, even though all of them were noble people. So that also we'll learn that part. We'll learn also a ru'ya, to interpret a dream is a fatwa. It's not just interpretation, it's not a guessing, it's a fatwa. You shouldn't give if you do not know. That's why they said, Aftuni fi ru'yai. Give me a fatwa of my dream. Aftuni, he asked the word fatwa. So it's dangerous that people speak about Allah and about dreams that they do not know. Also, we'll learn that another lesson that we learned, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to give him mercy, and the dream came through the king's the king's dream. So when he interpreted, if it was not the dream that he had saw, then people would be in danger and people would have problems, and Yusuf alayhi salam would not get out of the jail. It was a proof that, it was a proof that Allah's mercy was working there. Allah's mercy was there to give a mercy to the people and to give a mercy to Yusuf alayhi salam. As-Siddiq, another lesson we learn, Siddiq is higher than Sidq, very truthful. Ayyuha as-Siddiq ala wazni fa'il. Oh, you, the most truthful person. So this will learn that the truthfulness of Yusuf alayhi salam. This is why the hadith says that the person would say the truth and would speak the truth always until حَتَّى يُكْتَبَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ صِدِّيقًا, until it was written with Allah, the person that is Siddiq, the most truthful. They say Siddiq is a level below the prophethood. close to the prophethood but below that. That's why Abu Bakr was called Al-Siddiq, the most truthful. Is a darajah below the truth. Also, one of the lessons that we learn, how did Yusuf alayhi salam know that there will be 7 years of goodness? Yes, he got from Allah, but through the dream. Which part he got? The 7 years of goodness. The cows were fat or the green grains. Yes. Also the difficulties where he got it. Yes. The dries, grapes, and the skinny cows. That's together how much? 7 and 7. 14. What did he get Yusuf alayhi salam that there will be after that a year that would be good? What did he get from the dream? That there will be عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون. There will be a year where people would live good life and will not have. We'll learn that by making taqeed, by numbering it with 7, means that after 7 he will have to change. Otherwise he would say the numbers. There will be 7 years of difficulties that you will eat of what you have saved from the years of goodness. So mentioning that 7 shows that it will end. So from there he came, the problems would end. Otherwise he wouldn't say 7. He couldn't say 7. If it's more than 7, it wouldn't be good. Then he could not imagine that. Also, we learn that the Ta'bir Yusuf alayhi salam, there are some wisdoms. This dream. Number 1, it was a reason for him to get out of jail. Okay, that dream. It was a reason for him to get closer to the king. It was a reason that one reason could be a lot of ways that Allah opens gates for you. It was a reason for him to show his innocence, that dream. It was a reason that the people get to know who Yusuf alayhi salam. It was a reason, that dream was a reason for him to take the leadership and to be in charge of certain things in Egypt. It was a reason of everything that happened after that. So this dream was a big faraj from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are some of the lessons that we could learn from this passage. I'm going to read the other passage and drive some lessons, unless there's a question. And we'll speak about that inshallah right now, this next passage we saw. How did he become a king after that? وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ. When the king got the result of his interpretation, he was astonished with the wisdom and the knowledge of Yusuf alayhi salam. He said, ائْتُونِي بِهِ, bring him to me. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُ الرَّسُولُ, when the messenger came to him, that the king wants you out. قَالَ ارْجِعْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ. This time he wanted to prove something. He was not hiding a knowledge. He said, return to your king, to your master. فَاسْأَلْهُ مَا بَالُ النِّسْوَةِ اللَّاتِي قَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنَّ. Ask him about what was the cause of the women who cut their hands. He said, إِنَّ رَبِّي بِكَيْدِهِنَّ عَلِيمٌ. Allah knows, Allah is knowing, my Lord is knowing of their plan, what they were planning. And the king asked the women, he said, مَا خَطْبُكُنَّ. He said, what was your condition? إِذْ رَاوَدْتُنَّ يُوسُفَ عَنْ نَفْسِي. When you guys sought to seduce Yusuf alayhi salam, what did you want? قُلْنَ حَاشَ لِلَّهِ. They said, Allah is perfect. Perfectness is to Allah. مَا عَلِمْنَا عَلَيْهِ مِنْ سُوءٍ. We know nothing of evil about Yusuf alayhi salam. قالت امرأة العزيز الآن حصحص الحق. The wife of Al-Aziz said, now the truth had become evidence, apparent. الآن حصحص الحق. Today the truth become evidence. أنا راودته. She said the truth. أنا راودته عن نفسي. It's me, the one who seduced him. وإنه لمن الصادقين. And he is of the truthful ones. She admitted. And Allah says, ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمَ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْ. Then Yusuf said, that's so that Al-Aziz, this king, know that I was not betraying him. I was not cheating him in his absence. I wasn't commit any haram act with his wife when he was out. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the kaid, the plan and the plot of the betrayers. And he said, or she said, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. I do not acquit or make myself innocent. إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ. Usually the soul, ammara, usually commands, persists, and bisu, do evil things. إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. Except those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given them mercy. إِنَّ رَبِّي غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most forgiving. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ أَسْتَخْلِصُ لِنَفْسِي. Then the king said, bring him to me. I will appoint him exclusively for myself. I will make him from muqarrabin, those who are closer to me. And he said, فَلَمَّا كَلَّمَهُ. When he spoke to him, he said to him, إِنَّكَ الْيَوْمَ, O Yusuf, الْيَوْمَ لَدَيْنَا مَكِينٌ أَمِينٌ. Indeed, you are today established in position. I will give you a position, and you are the trustful person. And you're trusted. قَالَ اجْعَلْنِي عَلَى خَزَائِنِ الْأَرْضِ. He said, O king, appoint me over the storehouses. Make me the wazir, the minister of economy, making sure that things would go easy this year. He said, إِنِّي حَفِيظٌ عَلِيمٌ. Indeed, I will be knowing. أَنِّي حَفِيظ أَنَ عَلِيمٌ. And حَفِيظ, I am a guardian. I'm trustworthy. I will guard this. And knowing, I know what's going to happen. So this is the passage that we learn. So first and foremost, Yusuf alayhi salam refused to get out of jail. This time was not for himself. In general, it's if you're asked to come out jail, you will rush to the door, right? You've been in jail for years and years, and now you're told that it's time for you to get out of the jail. You say, oh my God, let me get out of here. You get to the jail. Yusuf alayhi salam wanted to preserve his honor. His honor was very important for him because he was a da'i. He was calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he didn't want to rush to a decision. He didn't want to rush to getting out, and he's out and people still will not trust him because they think he was guilty of a sin. That's why he will not be trusted. He will not be given a leadership, and his da'wah will not be accepted. He cannot call people to nobility and Allah. They will say that you are the one who did that, and you've been in prison. So before that, he made sure that he was clear from difficulties and problems. That's what he wanted to make sure before he get out, and he made sure that the woman admitted that it was their fault. That's lesson number one. Lesson number two that we can learn from this passage is the types of the soul. Our souls, the Quran says that there are three types of soul. Number one is ammara bisu, a soul that always commands you to do evil, always tells you to do the wrong things. That's the type of the most regular people. There is another soul, it's called al-lawama. Surah Al-Qiyamah mentioned the soul that blames the person. Whenever you do wrong, it blames you. Or whenever you did not do the way you're supposed to do, your soul, you say you could do better, you should worship Allah, you should do things, you should do that, you should do that. Then that's called al-nafs al-lawama. The final one is al-mutma'inna, the tranquil one, the one that doesn't have no problems to obey Allah. You don't have to struggle to make your soul to go pray, to do things. Your soul fully in obedience to those things. So al-ammara bisu is the one commands you evil, and that will not make you regret. Some people, they do things, do wrong, they don't feel anything. They don't feel bad about what they have done. They don't feel remorse or regret because that is the type of soul they have. That soul needs to be purified by repenting to Allah, by forcing yourself and training yourself to do good. Another type is a good soul that blames you when you do not do good. It will tell you that you should have done that and that. You should have missed that khair and khair. That's another type of a soul. The best one is the one doesn't need anything or pressure to do things, to sit down, listen to Quran, to sit down and listen to a lecture, to do some things, pray salat, to pray fajr, to do things that's the best in a soul that Allah makes it. So, but your soul could be in one of these. It could be the one who always commands you evil. It could be the one who always blames you when you don't do perfect. Or it could be the best one, mutma'inna, that's already ready to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For mistake to say, you can move it, you can purify it by training it. Whenever you do wrong, try to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's Ghafurur Rahim, He's the most forgiving. So you do that and you make dua. Prophet, he had the best of all souls. He used to make dua to Allah. He used to say, Allahumma hadini li ahsani al-a'mali wal akhlaq. He said, oh Allah, guide me to the best of all akhlaq, to the best of all deeds. No one can guide me but you. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you. Prophet used to say, Allahumma ati nufusana taqwaha. Oh Allah, give our souls a taqwa. Taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one can give that but you, O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's an important thing that we need to work on ourselves. You know yourself, try to change yourself to the best. Another lesson that we could learn from this part is that knowledge is more important than beauty. What put Yusuf alayhi salam in jail was his beauty. What took him out of jail is what? His knowledge. So if you have knowledge and if you are beauty, if you would choose one, knowledge is the most important. It will save you. It saved Yusuf alayhi salam. He had beauty. Instead of saving him, it put him in trouble. It put him in trouble. So that's what you need to know. You know about your hair? Your knowledge is more important. He says, I have nice hair. Do you not? Okay, you do. Okay, inshallah. Okay, that's another lesson. We're ending, inshallah. Another lesson that we could learn. First, Yusuf alayhi salam, the king, he said, Ituni bi. Bring him to me. Bring him to me. He didn't say what he's going to make him. At the beginning, when Yusuf alayhi salam interpreted the dream, said, وَقَالَ مَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُ الرَّسُولُ. But later on, when he realized the innocence of Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, ائْتُونِي بِهِ أَسْتَخْلِصُ لِنَفْسِي. Bring him to me so that I can appoint him exclusively for me. I can give him a position. I can make him my consultant. So it's important that you clarify your point before you move to the next step. It's very important that you work on that. Yusuf alayhi salam, another lesson is that Yusuf alayhi salam, when he came to I'm almost done inshallah. When he came to the king, he said, اجعلني على خزائن الأرض. He said, appoint me for this position. So the scholars, they say, is it allowed, is it permissible for a person to ask a position? First, there's a hadith of Prophet ﷺ, he said to Abdurrahman, لا تسأل الإمارة. Do not ask for imara. Another hadith says that we don't give an imara to anyone who asks for. Imara is leadership. So it's not permissible to ask leadership unless you are the one who's the most qualified person out there. If there is other people who are qualified like you shouldn't run or fight for the leadership, because this is a mas'uliyya and nadama. This is a responsibility. You will go in front of Allah, you will be questioned about the leadership that you're given to. Prophet ﷺ, he said, the person that who is interested and given a responsibility, in the day of judgment, he will be brought forth while there is a chains on his neck like this. Either fairness and justice will let him go, or he'll be thrown to hellfire. It's not easy. It's not just the money, you'll get paid more. It's a responsibility that Allah would question you about it. Umar radiallahu anhu used to say that يسألني يوم القيامة الفقير والمرأة. And Allah would ask me in the day of judgment about the poor one, about the woman who's divorced, about even, he say that the animal that did not get a good grass to eat, Allah would question me about it. So it's a responsibility, it's not something that we fought for. Except unless you are the only one who is qualified there and the rest will not do it good. When he was asking this leadership position, he didn't say, I am the most beautiful person, I am that, I am that. He mentioned he is qualified because of two qualities, ilm and hafiz. Inni hafizun alim. I'm trustworthy, I'm the most knowledgeable. And this is the two qualities that we need to look into to choose someone who's be in the leadership. If we want to choose somebody to be in charge, the two qualities, we don't look into lineage, we don't look to anything else. Does he know? Does he know what he's doing? That's number one. Number two, is he trustworthy? Is he somebody who is trustworthy? If he have this quality, we can appoint the person for position. If he doesn't have these two qualities, then he's not qualified. Al-ilmu wal-amana are the two conditions to appoint somebody. As for somebody who's knowledgeable in deen, then you are sometimes even obligated to spread that and to teach that to the others. Then you don't humble yourself. You don't say that this is a leadership. To be an imam, مثلا, if you know and have that knowledge, you are sometimes, if there is no other, in America I believe it's wajib even, because there's not that many people who could spread the knowledge. So if you are a leadership of imam and you know it, you must take that position and remove the ignorance and save the people from the ignorance and in the deen. But it's other than leadership that we're talking about, the leadership of the worldly leadership. Okay. It's okay to say, making me an imam, if you're qualified for the leadership of the imam and those, you could ask for it. But other than that, leadership is not encouraged to be asked. These are some of the things, some of the lessons that we could learn from the parts that we pass, inshallah. I don't want to take your time more. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Is that clear? Any question? Always. That's a good thing, by the way. That's good things. It's not a negative thing. Right now you see these three types of nafs. So one is like obedient to Allah, one is not obedient to Allah, and one blames you for everything. When you say it like that, it makes me feel like your soul is different. From what? It's like there's someone living in you saying, no, you're good, no, you're bad. You're getting confused. The soul is the instinct, it's part of you. It's everything in you but the body. Yes, you are the soul, except your body. It's something inside you. It's about your acts and mind and, yes, what's that? No, you're not naturally good. It always, the circumstance would help you to be good or bad. If you learn, usually you will be good. So the souls are in these three types. The first one was al-lawama, the one who was blames the person, and then the bad one that commands evil. That is the general person. That it commands you evil and you will not fix it, you will not worry about it. So I don't want to repeat the three types, but I'm trying to get your question. It's something that is in you, depends on your desires and your wishes. So you could reach and gradually move. You could gradually move from al-nafs, the first one that commands you to do evil, then al-lawama, the one blames you, then you could move to the mutma'inna. So it's not a state. It's not one soul you have it, it will stick with you. Am I making sense? So your soul could be at the beginning, al-ammara bis-su, commands you evil, you do, then you make repent, then you reach the middle, then you improve and you go to the best. Yes, yes, it's the stage that you are in. Any other question? I have one question. What are the two qualities to choose a leadership in Islam? Yes, knowledge and trustworthiness. It's good, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاكم الله خير. Right now, it is 20 minutes before Salat, inshallah. Okay.